Welcome, everyone. My name's Lee, and I'm here with Damon Ezekiel from Ezekiel Eyes. Welcome, Damon.
Hi Lee, thanks very much for the opportunity.
Thanks for joining us, Damon. So, you just had a massive trip over to the US. You spent over 24 hours on a plane,
Yes,
traveling
correct.
all the way over across to the eastern United States. Uh,
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about where you went to and what the conference was for.
So this is an annual global symposium on contact lens specialty. So all, well, 99% of the practitioners there all fit a lot of rigid lenses. And the it was an amazing conference. I mean, the content was absolutely sensational. And this was held in Las Vegas, and I'm not sure if you've ever been to Las Vegas, but Las Vegas is an interesting place. It attracts a lot of people on the hope that they're going to make a lot of money. So it's an interesting place, a lot of interesting people, interesting dynamics. But getting back to the contact lens side, so these presenters, I mean, the content was just out of control. It was absolutely amazing. So everything that I went to, and this was the one of the difficulties I had, is every hour or every 2 hours there's 6 streams of lectures running,
Wow.
and there's sometimes I was torn between two or three, but I could only get to one. So it was at times it was a bit disappointing because I'm like, oh, I really want to see that and that. Oh, and this presenter's amazing as well. So that made it a bit tough. Then they were in streams of whether it was scleral lenses or myopia management, or there was a particular stream there which was just for the Americans on the way they do their billing and healthcare providers and things like that. So it was great. It was hard though to make some of those decisions as to what to go to and what not to go to. This particular year, they got nearly 1,000 delegates, so it was the biggest. I was very privileged to go. I think I've travelled the furthest. There was a researcher from Queensland University of Technology, so from Brisbane. But it's a long haul, but it was really worth it. As I said earlier, the quality was amazing. And we're all very, very like-minded. There was things that really grabbed my attention in particular was, we're fitting a lot more scleral lenses. And let me just show you my T-shirt there. This is from the Scleral Lens Society Education Group, which I was lucky enough to get my fellowship pin at this conference. And I'm fitting a lot more sclerals. I have been for 29 years, but the scleral world has changed a lot with a lot of really innovative lens designs. One in particular that we're using a lot, which has originated out of the USA and has recently been licensed to a lab in Australia. So the beautiful thing about that for me and my patients is it's only a week or so turnaround instead of a minimum of 3 weeks coming from the US. So delivery time is important. The other massive bonus about this particular design lens compared to what we were using previously is we can do a lot of adjustments to the curve in the middle on the back and the mid-periphery and the edge, and we can tailor make in 4 different quadrants. So at 0 degrees, 90, 180 and 270, each edge one can lift off and one can drop back. So it's very, very individualized, which is amazing. And then also we can put 2 powers on the front, which a lot of other of these scleral designs is very minimalistic. So what we can offer our patients is, just something out of this world. I should just add that, for years now, optometry in particular, we can map the central part of the eye, the cornea, the very front. But the wider the eye, the sclera, we haven't been able to map. And recently there's been a couple of what's called scleral profilers, where the wider the eye we can actually now measure. So there was a couple of these instruments to look at. But the interesting research shows that the wider the eye is very asymmetrical. So the curve of a scleral lens, which is sitting on the white, in these 2 or 4 meridians are usually different. They're not all the same. And that's the beautiful thing about having this particular design that Kai and I are using at Ezekiel Eyes, where we can change these curves at, like I said, 0, 90, 180 and 270. So by able to tailor make that shirt, we can, get this fit to be so much more comfortable for our patients. So that was fantastic. This particular design, they launched a multifocal scleral lens, which was very interesting, very exciting. I haven't personally played with it, but from what I could see of the studies, things look, the numbers and patients seem very happy with it. So that's very exciting. And that's something else that we can add to our arsenal, and something else we can offer patients. There was a stream of lectures on myopia prevention, which is a very hot topic at the moment. And especially, when you look at somewhere like South Korea, where 98% of the population are short-sighted, we really want to minimise the degeneration and halt the myopia progression, to minimise when patients are older in life with retinal detachments and retinal tears, retinal holes, macular degeneration and things like that, and glaucoma. So there was a big discussion about that. And some interesting research, which was a bit disturbing when we look at some of the power profiles of what the soft lens, just a standard soft lens daily that we're prescribing patients. So from a proactive point of view, and this is the way Kai and I like to practice, is to, with patients who are short-sighted with the potential to become more short-sighted because of their age and or their parents and their myopia, we really want to try and nip it in the bud. And we have a lot of really, really good tools that we can use, whether they're soft lenses during the day or rigid lenses overnight. There's lots of different myopia prevention techniques out there. So it was across the board, there was just lots of really interesting things. There was one of my favourite presenters on dry eye, Art Epstein from Arizona, a very dry part of the US. He presented on a new drop which was launched in the US. Unfortunately, it's not available in Australia yet, but there is something similar that one of the suppliers in Australia do have, and I've requested some samples for Kai and I to play with. So I'm hoping we can add something to our arsenal to help our dry eye patients. There was lots of, the exhibition area was crazy. There was lots of different things there. Unfortunately, there's certain products that we just can't, or that are not available in Australia yet. They have to go through the regulatory authorities, the TGA. So maybe down the track, but that could be a couple of years away. So yeah, in terms of the content, was absolutely amazing. It was really, really exciting. And, apart from the content, one of the most important things I find of any congress is what happens in the, the word I'm looking for, in the passageway. It's talking to, morning tea, lunch, the networking, and talking to other optometrists or eye care practitioners, whether they're researchers or clinicians. How do you deal with your dry eye, or how do you deal with keratoconus and things like that? So it was really good. It was a fabulous congress. It's on every 12 months. Always in Vegas at this time of the year because it's cold, so it's cheaper to have a conference in Vegas for convention areas and stuff like that. So yeah, it was really good. There was a couple from Australia, a couple from Sydney, one from Adelaide, myself from Perth. So there was a couple from Brisbane. So it was good, but it was good to talk to all these other optometrists. Before you ask your next question, Lee, sorry, there's one other amazing lens which I looked into, a scleral lens, after I became president at the International Society of Contact Lens Specialists at that conference in Washington in September, October. I was looking into this eye print lens, which is a scleral lens where we take a mould of the eye. Anyway, I saw the suppliers of that, and they're hopefully going to be in Australia later in this year, and they're going to teach me and hopefully license me. So we take an impression of the eye, and then we either send the impression off, but the new technology is to take a scan of this mould, and that's digitally sent back to the lab. And then very clever, it goes onto a lathe and they cut with a tier profile, and so the fits are really, really amazing. So for those patients who are very difficult to fit with an off the shelf and then customizing that shirt for a scleral lens, this is the next step. It's not going to be cheap, but it's amazing fit, and made in a gas permeable material, so really nice and healthy. So there's a lot of really, really exciting things coming up.
Fantastic. It sounds like there's some amazing technology that's just around the corner. And thanks very much for Sonia for her comment. Sonia Nolan, she said,
yes,
great sharing, Damon, Ezekiel. Love it that you're sharing your feedback and your knowledge and experience. So
that's good. Thank you, Sonia. I must pay Sonia for that. She's done a great job.
Yes.
So one of the evenings we had a Scleral Lens Society educators function where I guess most of the conference was there, because most of us fit we all fit gas permeable lenses, but a lot of scleral lenses. So that was great. And then I was dragged off to the eye print, the moulding scleral, where there was a presentation. So it was a really, really crazy, busy conference, because it was just go. During the breaks of lectures and trying to get around to the exhibitors and trying to get into someone's ear about their product was difficult, because there's so many people interested in these products. So that's always a challenge, but it was very, very stimulating, and the quality of lectures was really terrific.
One of those presentations was with Dr. Tom Arnold and colleague. What was one of the things you picked up from that lecture?
So Tom Arnold and Melissa Barnett, they're both members of our International Society of Contact Lens Specialists, and they were talking about this particular scleral lens that Kai and I fit, this one that's licensed from the US and being made in Australia now. And they were talking about their experiences. So they would do a case history, and they'd talk about what they would do. And, so if it was my patient, what I'd do, and Kai would say, well, I'd do this, that, and the other. So it was really interesting. It was like, a counterproductive, or a counterpoint from one, and just how two different angles looking at the same eye, and a lot of it was similar, but little nuances here and there. I'd do this, and I'd go an extra 30 microns deeper here, and things like that. So it was great, because there was a couple of lectures on this particular lens Kai and I fit. One was on the multifocal, and then just the nuances on how to change the fit. It was great, really good. It was hard to sleep at night because I was so overstimulated.
I love it. That's fantastic. So at this conference, this was your first conference as president of the International Society. Were you there in an official role in any way?
No, I wasn't, but I just thought, I really do need to, I need to go for myself, but I also needed to go for the organisation and, spread the word, see what other delegates are out there that we should be inviting into our group. And there were people there that are interested. We're hoping to grow. Our next conference we're looking at is about April 2020, so it's some time away, but we need to get we're working hard now to get sponsorship and the draft program already for 2020. So I just thought, in my position, I really do need to show the flag a little bit more, and make sure some of those shows that are everywhere in Vegas were well attended. So I did go to, for those that haven't been to Vegas, there are a lot of ticket booths, and an hour before a show, the prices are remarkably cheaper. So there was a couple from Adelaide and this lovely lady, Mindy, and we're all part of the International Society of Contact Lens Specialists, and Mindy and I got a last-minute ticket to one of these Cirque du Soleil shows and met up with this couple from Adelaide. just fantastic show. I mean, the acrobatics and the strength of these people is just incredible.
It's
not as exciting as a scleral lens, but still, it was, you needed some relief after a heavy day of talking eyes.
It's great to take your mind off things and and be able to explore Vegas a little bit. Were there any other highlights from Vegas?
Well, I was very lucky. I mean, because of the way where we live is so far away that the conference finished and pretty much most abandoned and left. There was 3 of us from the International Society of Contact Lens Specialists who were still in town, so we went out for dinner. And then the next day, Greg, he left first thing in the morning, and Armin, who's from Switzerland, he was flying out Monday afternoon, evening, much like myself. So he said, well, what are we going to do? Why don't we go and visit the Grand Canyon? Which we did. We got a helicopter ride out there. There was a group of 7 on this helicopter and the pilot, 8. So I can get you some images of that, and that was spectacular. I mean, one of the beautiful things, we were so spoiled. The week before I got there, they had rain and horrible weather. While I was there, it was cool, 13, 14 degrees, hardly any cloud around. So, buzzing over the Grand Canyon was just absolutely incredible. It was fantastic. It was an amazing experience, really. Something that, I hope to take the boss and the kids on at some stage. And, there's Vegas, sorry, Lee, Vegas is one of those places where you can do absolutely, there's adrenaline everywhere, and you can, there's something. If you want to, do a, bungee jump off this, that, or whatever, you can, there's stuff out there for everyone. So it's, to drive to the Grand Canyon is a good 2-hour drive, and, we didn't have time. It was just, convenient, obviously, just to jump in a helicopter. Sounds very crazy, but, it was great. Really something I would definitely recommend.
Yeah, just to give you that perspective, sometimes being above the world, and it just creates that really
incredible
perspective.
Absolutely amazing, yeah.
So tell me about some of the things that you've probably had a chance to catch Kai briefly, but there's lots of things that you're hoping to talk about and discuss with him as well.
So we had this crazy thing where I got back on Wednesday. I worked with Kai Thursday, Friday, Saturday morning, and now, luckily for Kai, he's up in Singapore visiting his family for Chinese New Year, which was last night. So that was good. So we didn't have enough time really, because, when I get back from being away, my book is just chock-a-block, which is good. I'm not complaining, but it doesn't give me a lot of time to download with Kai. So I'm hoping, when he gets back, my list would have calmed down a little bit, and I'll certainly be. I've passed on some literature, and we've talked already about the asymmetrical white part of the eye, the sclera of these scleral lenses, and how, the beautiful thing about this design that we're playing with, how we can alter these landing zones on the sclera. So it's good. It's time, very time poor at the moment, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So if I was to come in soon for an appointment, what are some of the soonest things to come that'll become current with Ezekiel Eye? So you mentioned the dry eye sample drops that you've got.
Yeah, so I've just these are coming from the eastern states. They're hopefully going to arrive, if not the next day or so, early next week. So I just need to sort out what they are and how they compare to what this Art was talking about in the US. So that's an option. Obviously, for our keratoconus or, post-graft, or even patients who are exceptionally short-sighted and just, the health they're going to get with a rigid lens compared to a soft lens, obviously the vision, if the finessing of what we can do with a scleral lens now compared to what we could do is it's tenfold what I learned in Vegas. I mean, it's talking to the consultants who of this lab and what they how they make them, and then if this doesn't work, what do we need to do to give more edge lift, or it's too compressed, or things like that. So just spending time with them, chatting about this, that, and the other is just crazy invaluable. So that's leaps and bounds. So it's just, I guess, I mean, the most important thing is when for us, we're not a generic go online and book an appointment, because we do so many different things. So when patients ring up and they talk to Maureen or Dee, they can say, well, look, I'm already wearing rigid lenses, I'm having problems with them, this is what I think I need, or I'm coming in for dry eye and IPL. Then, we can put you in the right place depending on what you require. And that's easier to have that conversation over the phone. We certainly, through our website, you can log on and, tell us about yourself and what you think you need. And then, but to make that appointment, is it a 40-minute, a 45-minute, a half an hour? Who do you need to see? Is it IPL and Kai? Or so it just depends. And I think that personalised doing it, over the phone, we can work out exactly what you do need and who's the right person for you to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the best thing to do, I think, if someone would like to see us, is to give us a ring on 9386 3620 and have a chat to Maureen. If you've got questions that she says, look, you really need to talk to Damon or Kai, great. We'll ring you back, in between patients and work out, are we the people you need to see, and, and when and what we can do. And there's certainly, patients who come in wearing scleral lenses from somewhere else that need attention, we would actually get them to come back in without any lenses in. Because of the moulding effect of sclerals, we really need them to be free of them for an hour or two the night before they go to sleep, and, get them in first thing in the morning, no lenses. And then when they leave, they can put their old lenses in. But that's, it's all very individualistic and case by case.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Damon, it's fantastic to see your excitement, your enthusiasm for the amazing.
It is exciting. It's those little bits there, where you hear patients say, without you, I can't work, I can't drive, and you stand back and realise, wow, that's crazy, the stuff that we're doing.
Absolutely, it's about, as you said in one of your updates on Facebook, that it's about really working alongside someone and improving their quality of life.
Exactly. You're spot on. That is the bottom line. If we can just give them an extra 15%, whatever it is, and make things blacker and clearer, it's like, wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
So it's great. I mean, it's great. We're adding to our arsenal of contact lenses, all these different things that we can do, and customising that shirt instead of just getting something off the shelf. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Well, it's not everything that happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So it's been fantastic to hear from you, and thanks for sharing your enthusiasm.
Thanks, Lee. Anytime. Really, as you can tell, I'm very excited, very passionate, and if I can help, please let me know. Thanks, Lee.
All right. Thanks, Damon.
Good night. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.